Hello, people on the TikTok. Now, I normally don't do 10-minute videos a lot, but for this one, I'm gonna show you different methods of acting. Like one of them being when to act happy, when to act sad, when to act angry, and scary and cold. All these different emotions. In certain instances, like you're playing a character who's like a tough guy, for example, you gotta act like a little bit more aggressive, right? If you're playing some guy who's like happy but like has a really I don't know, really shitty job, I guess would be the right one for that one. But sorry, my eyes. The weather's been like fucking shit today. So I'm gonna explain to you how to do them in a sense that it's believable. I'm gonna start with a little bit more like just a certain phrase, like I don't know, like a random phrase. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, like something you wouldn't say in that emotion, but you would say in another emotion. Like, for example, like I'm gonna go kill somebody with a knife. But if you say that happily like this, I'm gonna go kill somebody with a knife. You wouldn't say that like that because it would sound kind of like very psycho-ish. Now, however, if you say it cold and scary, it's believable. And I'm about to do that now. I'm gonna go kill somebody with a knife. Just like that. And it's believable if the people believe that it's scary enough. Like if you're like a killer in a movie, for example, like if you're the bad guy in the movie, you kind of have to act a little aggressive, but you can act cold too. Like, for example, I've seen a lot of these where the actor acts really cold and scary, doesn't say a damn thing, but it's believable because that's acting, and they just like kill the guy without really saying anything, but just giving that really cold ass stare like this. Just like that. And it sounds, what people, I guess, define as scary, that would be very scary. Now, in situations like, there are certain times where you're supposed to be happy and certain times you're supposed to be sad when you're acting as said character. Now, for the sad part, I can somewhat do that. I'm bringing up that phrase again. I'm gonna go kill somebody with a knife. Like that. See what I did just there? I switch between different emotions each time, but like if you want to also do accents in a very scary, like do like a Russian accent, because some Russians, not all Russians, are a little bit aggressive. So, but you got to make it believable. And a lot of people think that it's not believable when I do it sometimes, but I can try a Russian accent. It's very hard to do for certain things, like getting very angry. In a Russian accent, for me, that's the hard part. I'm still working on it, but I can say certain phrases in a Russian accent that may sound scary. So let me try it. I'm gonna go kill this motherfucker. See, I'm still working on it, but like I said, acting for certain characters, doing a Russian one's probably the hardest. But like if you're the bad guy in a movie and the director tells you to say a certain line in a certain emotion in a certain facial, like to make it believable, basically, I'm gonna go and say this. It's not easy for a lot of people to understand, and even some actors out there who've been doing it for years, I'm sure when they started off, they didn't think they were gonna be able to do it. But The Godfather is a prime example of a movie with, Al Pacino, Marlon Brando, all these actors kind of having to put on that little, tough guy kind of exterior. And Marlon Brando couldn't really like do the role without really reading his lines, so they did a little trick. They made it to where he was holding, like the scene where he's holding his cat and petting it, and he's looking down a lot. He's actually reading his lines off of this little thing that's at his desk, which I found out later. But if you want to go for super aggressive, like Scarface, for example, that's requires you not to only put on an accent, but to act very scary and very, like, I wouldn't want to say calm and collected, because Scarface was not calm and collected. He was very, very aggressive. He was very violent. And doing that, the switch between Michael Corleone and Tony Montana was interesting. If you watch them back to back, he's pretty scary in both of them when he does this little tough guy thing. Like, not the, hey you over there. That not that. I'm talking about like not really saying much, but being believable and scary at the same time, with not having really to say much of anything. Just acting cold, and probably like, well, in some movies that, even these superheroes, man, if you see the certain villains act a certain way, you know they're acting, obviously, those are actors, but seeing that and transforming into another role, that's the whole point of acting. Now, I know I'm at 6 minutes in. I got a few minutes left to explain a little bit more about acting. Voice acting, kind of similar. You don't really have the camera in your face as much. I mean, you're reading characters' lines, but that's even harder for certain things, and certain voice actors have to read these lines in a certain like emotion, a certain text, to make it sound believable and not make it look like you're reading off your lines like, oh, I see what you mean by that. That's reading your lines when you're voice acting, and it sounds bad. Now, if you're not like, you're kind of looking at it, but you're acting it out in a certain way to make it believable with voice acting, that's a little harder. But for some people who are just reading it and are like the mispronunciation of a word, for example, when it comes to voice acting, now that's very important to pronounce the word with the exact meaning, the proper saying of it in the exact same way that it's spelled. That's harder, because certain words, like big words, how the hell are you going to read that right? Unless you actually know a thing or two in like college level reading. Now me, I wanted to be an actor growing up, but then I realized how horrible they treat a lot of Hollywood actors. Now voice acting is a little different, and Broadway acting is a little bit different. They're both more fun. I thought about it at one time, but I'm a little rusty on it, but I do want to get back to acting. So what I was going to say is, like, it's all about if the person believes that you are acting as the character and you are said character with the way you perceive yourself, your facial reaction, your body language, just to make yourself sound scary, anybody can do. It's pretty simple. But that's all I have for this video, so whoever watched this and stayed till the end, thank you for watching.